What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be putting spark plugs in my 2011 Tacoma, which has the 4-liter V6. We're going with 6 OEM Toyota plugs, and then right there is your part number if you'd like to look it up. It's a pretty simple process with some basic tools. I think anybody can do it at home in the driveway or in the garage. Just to go over the tools we're going to need, we've got a 5/8 spark plug socket. I like these because it's magnetic. It holds a spark plug for you when you're pulling it out or putting it in, and keeps it nice and safe. Obviously a gapper so we can gap our plugs. Assortment of 3/8 extensions. May not need both of these, but just to kind of cover it, I'll show you guys that. 3/8 ratchet, and then also a 10mm socket and a 12mm socket, and that'll be it. First thing we're going to do is remove our engine cover, which is just 2 10mm acorn nuts. Then next we're going to undo our airbox here. Just remove these clips. And then we're going to want to move it out of the way. So actually on mine, I got a flathead right here from where I did the snorkel. Go ahead and undo that clamp. It just pulls straight towards the front of the vehicle. And then up. And then we'll go set it aside. Now we got our 3 coil packs here. We're not replacing the coil packs. Go ahead and unplug those. 3 10mm bolts holding our coil packs on. Then go ahead and pull your coil packs out, and I'm going to set mine up on the cowl here. Now that we got the passenger side out, we're looking at the driver's side. You can see we got 1 coil there, 1 there, and then 1 there. This side is a little more tricky to get to, but it's not as hard as it may look. Basically, the trickiest part about this is sometimes this bracket can get in the way if you got huge hands. This coil will come out even with this bracket in the way. If you do feel like you need to remove it, that's why I included a 12mm in the tools list. There's a 12 here, and then there's a 12 on the cylinder head right there. So you can take that out, loosen that, and then this bracket just kind of flops out of your way. In reality, all you got to do is remove this PCV hose right here, and then there's plenty of room for that coil to come out. And then also, if you just disconnect it from the PCV valve over there and just get it completely out of the way, it makes these back 2 coils a little easier to get to. With all of our coil packs out of the way, now what we're going to do is take our ratchet with an extension and our 5/8 spark plug socket, and I'm going to go through and I always test them first and make sure that they're going to break free easily. I don't just put an impact on them and try to run them out. That could be how you end up with a broken spark plug in your cylinder head, which is what you don't want. So I'm going to go through with the ratchet, make sure they all break free, and then I'm going to go ahead and run them all out, and then we'll work on getting the new plugs in. Another thing to note after you pull your coil packs out, check to see if you have any oil, signs of oil on here. Look down at your spark plug holes, make sure there's no oil pulled up in the bottom of your tubes. If you do have oil pulled up there, then your valve cover gasket is actually leaking. I know you think a valve cover gasket is leaking around here, but there's actually seals for spark plug tubes as well, and those can leak down into the spark plug tubes and then cause a misfire in themselves. Alright guys, now that we got our old plugs out of the truck, we're going to work on putting in our new ones. And also a number that wasn't on the box I showed you, these are K20HR-U11 Denso plugs, OEM. And so we're going to go ahead and gap these. They call for 039 to 043. Some plugs come pre-gapped from the factory. I'll go ahead and check them anyways. You can go ahead and see we're at about 39 to 4. So we're going to go ahead and leave them right there. We'll go ahead and check all 6 of those plugs, and then we'll be ready to put them in. One thing some people do is put a little anti-seize on the threads here. I've done plugs on this truck multiple times because the interval's every 30,000 and I'm at about 200,000, and I have never used anti-seize. One thing I also do is always pull plugs out on a cold engine, a stone cold engine. So this truck has been sitting for more than a day, absolutely no heat in the engine block. So yeah, everybody's got opinions on whether to use anti-seize or not to use anti-seize. I'm not going to use it, and that's my choice. You can use it if you'd like, but I'm just going to go ahead and proceed without. So we're going to go ahead and start putting our plugs in. Like I was talking about before, it pays to have a nice spark plug socket. So you can put your spark plug in there. You can turn it upside down, give it a few shakes. It's not going to fall out on you. I think this kind of goes without saying, but if you were to drop these on the ground and get a little crack in that porcelain or a crack up here, you're going to end up with a misfire, and you're going to be wondering why, considering you just put new plugs in. So it's always better to have a nice socket for the job. Alrighty guys, we got our plugs in both sides, torqued to 15 foot-pounds. As you kind of saw in the video, I go back and double check So I'll go 15 foot-pounds, click it, and then I'll click it back again just to double check, because sometimes those little washers, when they're crushing, they'll kind of crush down, and then you go to check it again and it's not at the torque spec that you initially intended. So I'll go back and check them a couple times, make sure they're all good. Before we go putting everything back together, we're going to take a rag or a little paper towel, kind of clean off our coil packs. We're going to inspect them for any cracks along here. That is just a seam in the coil. You probably can't even see that. That's just a seam in the coil pack itself. Check for swelling, any sign that the coil pack itself is bad. And then we're going to put just a tiny dab of dielectric grease right inside this hole, and then we'll go ahead and complete reassembly. Alright guys, so that's about it. Nice and simple. I think anybody can do it at home, in the driveway, or in the garage. Hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.